So welcome back to DecoyNoise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist? And am I the antagonist for possibly encouraging my son to break up with his girlfriend and telling him that I have regrets about marrying his mother/my wife? So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing down below and turning those notifications on. As DecoyNoise has gotten past that 1K mark, we actually have a much more interesting comment section down here than what I've ever seen at the Reddit thread. So if you want to watch the drama unfold or join the drama down there, make sure you're subscribed with the notifications on. But let's go ahead and read this thread. So OP writes, "My son will be starting college this fall. He will be attending a school out of state while his girlfriend stays at home to attend college. Because of the distance, they have been discussing whether or not they want to try to make things work, and they have struggled to make a decision. He asked his mom and me of what we thought we should do, and for a time, I refused to advise him other than make some very high-level comments and generalizations. His mother/my wife, on the other hand, has encouraged him to stay with his girlfriend, even though I asked her to remain impartial. My son continued to ask me for my opinion, and because his mom weighed in, I felt like he needed to hear my perspective. This is because my wife has used us as an example to show him that high school sweethearts can last. She is not wrong, but she has only given one side of our story to our son, and I felt that I needed to give him my perspective, which I have not shared with our kids until now. To make a long story short, we were high school sweethearts, but in many ways I regret choosing to make a commitment to my wife when we were so young. We had a similar issue. I applied to grad schools and ended up getting offers from schools in New York and Los Angeles, which I really liked. I would have probably attended one, but my wife did not want to move to either place, which forced me to choose. I've always wondered how my life would have gone if I had chosen another path. I told my son all of this and advised him to think about what he wants that hanging over him while he's away at school. To be tied down like this during the best years of his life is going to give him a very different college experience and probably limit him in many ways. I did not tell him he should break up, but I did strongly urge him to consider if he is prepared to make that sacrifice and end up like me, wondering what he missed out on. Apparently my daughter overheard this conversation and relayed it to my wife. My wife has taken this very hard, and so have my daughters, but I don't think what I said was wrong. I don't think I'm wrong for wanting my son to avoid the same. He has many plans which are not compatible with what his girlfriend wants. She's a local girl like my wife and probably will never want to leave our town or explore the world. So either he is going to end up fighting her over this and feeling bad because he wants to experience life and things will ultimately not work out. If the latter in the case, it is better to just end it now so that at least he can enjoy college. Am I the antagonist? So like we typically do with these threads, we take it to decoy court. I'm going to give it my knee-jerk reaction, kind of go over what I'm thinking. We're going to give them now the decoy defense, where I'm going to try to think it from the other side of the argument and give them some points of as to why they would be thinking the way they do. We read some top comments, we read some controversial comments. I read your comments down below, and then we do some decoy deliberation where we figure out who indeed is the antagonist and what theoretical punishment should they get if they were to actually come to decoy court. I don't know. I need to gavel at this point in time, but let's go ahead and read this right now. And I want to say that OP's the antagonist, not for feeling the way he did, but basically he just tells his son, like, hey, I wish I was this New York lawyer and not stuck with you. Like, he thinks that his life could have been an episode of Ally McBeal or Harvey Birdman, but now he's stuck living an episode of Malcolm in the Middle with you idiots. Like, that's such a weird thing for his son to hear. Like, okay, yeah, I want to know, like, should I love my girlfriend, but should I don't know what I want to do. And he's like, well, look, you suck. I wish I was over in Europe right now. It's weird. And the thing, and also, like, he's telling his son that he doesn't like his mom. Like, the mom just sat down and said, hey, son, like, look at me and your father. I love your father. It's great. Everything's amazing. And then the son is like, the son hears from the dad, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I could be LeBron James's agent right now and be traveling the world. Like, it's so weird where my mind is going with that, but just the idea that he's saying that the wife is angry, the daughters are angry, and I would imagine the son's probably angry too, just thinking like, oh, we're a mistake, like he does not want to be here. And that wasn't the question at all. It's like, you know, what do you think I should do? Why didn't just the father be a father and just say, well, let's hear what you have to, like, let me hear what you have to say. Let's hear the pros and the cons. What do you want? And just tell me what it is. And just because the son keeps on asking, he's just probably venting, like, just wants to say it aloud a couple times so he can hear him say it and come to his own conclusion. He can kind of guide him a little bit, but then he's just using the son as a sounding board of like, hey, you're about to have like you're about to join a frat in college. You're about to be out of state. It's going to be amazing. You're going to be like drunk all the time. Like, from what I see on this, father's going through a midlife crisis, and he's living vicariously through his children, which is not, it always has negative connotations, but maybe he just wants the best for him. So I guess I'm going to the next section already, which is the decoy defense, in the sense of maybe the father sees it as the son is, it's probably better off to move on and live life. And I don't want to be callous, because maybe I don't know this relationship, but I know for myself, it was good for me to be in high school with like a high school sweetheart, and then go to college, and then it just kind of goes to crap, and then you move on to things. Like, if I stayed with my high school sweetheart, my life would have been very different, and would have severely stunted my growth. I feel like every long-term relationship, and even sometimes the short-term relationships I've been with, I've come out and actually like a different person. Like, I feel like a lot of you people that are younger know that you're an entirely different person when you went into high school and when you left high school. And if you're older, when you went into college and came out of college, you're an entirely different person. So if I've had a couple, 3 to 4 year long relationships, it's just the same difference of in beginning and end of college. You're a different person, and I don't think that I would ever want to say to like not even my son, just a younger version of me, like, don't say your life is over at that high school age. Like, you have so much more things to experience and do. Like, I do identify that I'm still a bit closed-minded about a lot of things. That's why the podcast is, if nothing, therapeutic for me. But back in the day, I had what I thought was right, and you couldn't tell me any wrong, and know it all and all that. So it's like, I really would want to encourage that younger person to like go out there, experience life, date the different type of people, and be able to say like, hey, maybe that high school sweetheart was the best thing you could have got. So you want to go back and maybe things work out. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So just the situation where it's like, the father might just want to be passing on lessons, like giving his son the life you never had. Like, you always hear about these, like families where the parents work at like, they make themselves like a dry cleaner just so their kid can go to, like some Ivy League school. And it's like, you want to give them the life you never had. So you can't knock the father OP for being honest and being completely forthcoming with the kid. But I think there was a better way to go about it. So I'm going to go ahead and say a light. And actually, no, he's the antagonist. He's the antagonist at Decoy Court for the simple fact that he just told his son, like, hey, I wish I was a high-powered lawyer, not hanging out with you. So, I mean, let's give a short break, pause the video, let me know what you think down in the comment section down below to say, like, what you would think, because this is your unfiltered opinion, which I really, really appreciate when I'm reading. But then again, let's go ahead and go to those top comments right now. So the top comment is, you're the antagonist, not for giving your son advice, but for telling him about your own relationship dissatisfaction. He doesn't need to know that. You shouldn't have expected him to keep it a secret from his mother. Now you need to have an honest talk with your wife. Edit for clarification. Yes, I think honesty is generally the best policy, but your barely adult son doesn't need to know that you regret staying with his mother, especially when the mother has no idea. As a college first year in a long-distance relationship, my parents managed to advise me that my education should always come first without bringing their personal lives into it. The people who hear about the regret first should be his wife and maybe a therapist, and possibly the divorce attorney, but I mean, yeah, that's such a weird way for the wife to hear about it too. Through the daughter overhearing the conversation with the son. Now the son doesn't know if he needs to share it with the mom, and it just, if anything, it just complicated it for the son. Like, wait, not only do I have to make this big decision about my own relationship, are my parents getting divorced? Is my dad miserable? Like, what do I do? Is his happiness contingent on my ability to live my best life? Like, that's an awful lot of weird pressure. But let's go ahead and read a reply to that. I honestly hate when parents talk about their regrets in life when those regrets directly relate to the existence of children. OP's children wouldn't exist if he hadn't stayed with his wife. Imagine hearing from your own dad that he regrets staying with your mom and thinks about how his life could have been different if he broke up with her. To any kid, that sounds like, I sometimes wish that you didn't exist. Like, why would you say that to your child? Very true. And the reply is, quoting, I sometimes wish you didn't exist. And then they say, yeah, parents are also criticizing their own child when they criticize their spouse or ex, since the identity of even an adult child isn't enmeshed with the both parents, my family class. So the other problem is that a young adult is typically not equipped to be the best buddy or therapist to a parent where they can tell their secrets to. I do understand at some point in time, children begin seeing their parents as just people as opposed to their parents, and at some point in time parents don't see their children as their kids. They're just adults that happen to be their kids, and they're just like, what do they say, happiness for parents drops off when the kid is born, and then it comes back once they can kind of see their parents as social creatures as opposed to responsibilities. And I know that's a callous way to put about it, but I mean, I believe that's just a graph I saw, which makes sense though. Like, you know, you're raising your kids, your life is on pause to raise this kid to the best of your ability. And once they're actually contributing and they're doing stuff and you're actually able to kind of like, you know, reap the benefits of your hard work as a parent, then they kind of like, you know, their happiness will kind of go back up. They live their own life and they see, you know, wow, we did a good job as parents. I know there's a broad generalization, but the idea is, he's not there yet. Maybe once he gets to finish his college and has a family of his own, then they can start having conversations like that. But not when he's essentially still with his high school sweetheart, thinking about what college to go to. Like, this was the inappropriate time to have that conversation. But let's go ahead and go to the next top post, which is, you're the antagonist. This is not a burden a child should have to bear. Now the entire family has to suffer for your choice of bad words. They will likely think you have been living a lie, and by association, so have they. And that would be also a direct reflection of them. Like, as a kid, that would be like, oh, okay, wow, so you wish that you didn't have me, you didn't stay with mom. So do you wish that you had a different family with a different lady, and then you would have been more proud of those kids? Like, I'm sorry I didn't win the soccer championship, Dad. Like, I'm not that athletic. But I mean, okay, let's read on. The reply to that says, exactly, you could have voiced those concerns without making it about how you regret marrying their mom, and by extension don't enjoy your current life with them. Your kids are not your confidants. They are people who don't need to know your regrets or other negative things. If you were capable of having an adult conversations about these kinds of feelings with other adults, you could have tried talking to your wife about how to move forward with a life you'd both like. Instead, you've tarnished your children's view of their parents and their marriage. And that's the big point, I guess. The whole tarnish their view of the marriage. They tarnish their view of the family. Everybody just thought like, well, everybody's living their best life and super happy. And I'm so lucky that I live in a household that has both parents, all the kids. I'm able to go to college. Now it's less about a problem with like, oh, do I stick with this girl or do I kind of experience college? It's like, oh, is my life a lie? Let's go ahead. Read one more top post. This is a thorny one. To me, the fact that you explicitly said that the word regret, that you regret marrying your wife, makes you the antagonist. Although I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying you wonder what opportunities lost and what could have been different. I do think that for a conversation like this, you absolutely should have been behind closed doors, being very careful to not get overheard, because you knew this would hurt her to hear. So if anything, I'd say your negligence in not being very careful to not be overheard pushes you over into you're the antagonist. A fine way to think and feel, but you need to be more careful with where and how you say it. The one thing I would say about this is a lot of the times you hear people that are like cheating on their spouses or girlfriends, and they say, at some level, I just wanted to be caught. Like they were sick of hiding out and sneaking around and being dishonest. They just wanted to get it over with, rip the band-aid off. They didn't want to sit down with the spouse and say, hey, look, I'm cheating on you. They just wanted to be a big blowout and get like, you know, be found out or something. With this situation here, maybe he said it like on the kitchen table while the wife was like on her phone on the couch. Like maybe he wanted her to hear it in an indirect way. He wanted the daughter to get back to him, because it does sound like in this short story, OP is dissatisfied with his life and he wants his son to live a better life. So maybe at some level he kind of wanted to get the ball rolling. I have heard the term where parents always want to stay together even in a doomed marriage just so the kids can get through college, and maybe he was starting the ball to get rolling, or maybe he just is he just has no tact in that situation, or maybe he wanted it to be to leak out there like he did it himself. So it's hard to say, but like I said, drop your comments down below. Top comments are for perspective, controversial comments are for fun. So the top controversial comment is, heck no, you said the truth. The truth is just the truth, no matter what our response is to it. You recognize that you only get one chance to be young, and saying that to your boy with the appropriate energy while also showing him that life can be amazing at that age if you don't shy away from it. You saying this crap to him is your evolutionary natural role. Don't let others tell you otherwise, and keep the truth from your son. Then he will marry the first girl he meets and slap his forehead with regret 20 years later. To not be honest with a person who is largely your own genetic material outright, as I understand in layman's genetics, is codependency of the highest order that will only damage him. Trust me, I know of what I speak, sadly. So I wish that I had made a banner for like the projection award, because this guy is projecting an awful lot. And the thing is though, is it tells me that he regrets his life. Maybe this is the so just the idea that I'm already getting a picture of what this guy is like right now, and like what he looks like and what he does and probably what he smells like too. But just the idea that this guy's filled with regret. So obviously he would have the same conversation with his son. But just the idea that, you know, different people peak at different times. Like maybe I hate to say it, but it's like maybe the girl that he's dating right now, although she doesn't share the same values with travel and going to like New York or LA for college, maybe she's the most amazing person. Like, I can tell you about dating like later in your late 20s, things change. Like the environment is different, and you know, you want to say like, oh, the good man and good woman dried up or whatever, but it's one of those situations where it's the dating landscape changes much later in life than what it was early. So maybe for this particular person, he found the best he's ever gonna get. So you don't want to say like, oh yeah, you know, that's just cut it off, but you just don't know this particular situation. So for you to sit here and be like, you're gonna slap yourself in the forehead and regret it 20 years later, you don't really know. And I do understand that what I'm saying right now is in contradiction to what I was saying earlier, but I don't like it when you kind of heavy-handedly say this is absolutely the only right way, this whatever. I try to kind of see from all perspectives, and this guy just seems to be projecting what he's thinking onto this person. But let's go ahead and see what OP had to say in reply to that. OP says, yes, the main thing I want for him is him to make his own choice. If that's staying with her, that's fine, but he should do it for the right reasons and because that's what he wants. He should not be afraid to make the hard decision and try something new. In other words, don't make the safe choice because it's the easy choice. Which is true, but there's context to everything. And the next reply to that was, you know, he already knew you were not quite as swept up in the high school sweetheart story as his mom is. He asked you for the truth and you gave it to him. That is a gift he can take with him all his life, knowing that you will be honest with him and trust him. I think that's a very selfish way to say like these guys are both like the father figure in their scenarios where like, oh yeah, the son is just gonna appreciate that I'm honest with me. No, the son's gonna think about it selfishly, not in a bad way, but selfishly on how it impacts him. And the son's just gonna think, wait, I don't care about your honesty with me. Was I a mistake? Do you regret having me? Like, do I not belong here? Like, I can't come to you now? Like, that's all it's going to be to him. But like I said, give me your comments down below. The discussion, you guys like to argue a little bit down in the comment section, but you do it in a civil way. You guys earn the Decoy Koi coin just for being consistent feedback or consistent commentators with like, you know, thorough feedback, not just like, you know, meme lol replies or whatnot. But I mean, I like when I see a spirited discussion down there. I don't like people getting piled on, but that happens more on Reddit than it does on my own comment section, so I do enjoy that. But I mean, I'm a little bit in the middle with this on the communication was right, just not the way he did it, and also the idea that I just don't like that particular reply in the sense of like, oh yeah, never commit, you'll regret it, blah blah blah. Like that was a bit too extreme for me. But like I said, the decoy deliberation is OP is the antagonist. He should get a little bit of the blame for putting this weird information on the son. And I say our fictitious punishment would be, maybe it's not the truth, but someone tell him that he was a mistake. Tell him that his whole life was a lie and he has the same existence as a son. See how he feels about it. Does he feel like, oh yeah, I'm glad you guys are honest with me? Or does he feel like, man, that sucks? But like I always say, if you made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you for watching the entire content, hanging out with me during the furlough. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below and make sure that you have your opinion heard down there. Or if you just like reading the drama, make sure you watch the video early on so you can kind of see it unfold as it does. If you haven't already, check out DecoyNoise.com for the audio-only podcast or the surveys or just feedback you want to give me. But if anything, put this on autoplay and go ahead and check out the next video coming up next.